Do dee do, dee do dee. Do dee do. Holy cow, look at what I got. Boys and girls, look at who I got tonight. It is stirring the pot with Don Kincaid and my very, very special guest, Karen Bam Bam. Oh my God, I cannot believe I have Karen Bam Bam. Welcome. How are you?
Good. It took long enough, Kincaid. What's up? You in demand. Let me get like you.
Hey, I mean, I've been having so much fun with the men and women. We've been talking stories. We've been talking character. We've been talking wrestling. And tonight, specifically, we're going to bring the fans. If you don't know who she is, get her on the Twitter and the face page. That's Karen Bam Bam, like Bam Bam. But what we do is we give the fans a little insight of Ms. Bam Bam. So we're here for you. We're not here for, this is Bam Bam's time.
Yep, y'all on my time. Start the clock. What's up? You can find me at Bam Bam.
Yeah. So two things to start off. How are you and your family through these times that we're going through?
I'm super fortunate. Like, everyone, to my knowledge, feels great in terms of like my closest family and friends, and I hope it stays that way. Well, except for Alphonse Stevens, one of my favorite refs from BWF, a lot of other places. I'm sure you know him. He's going through a bit of a struggle with COVID right now. So we've all been praying for him and asking others to pray for him. And so if y'all can, just send that positive energy, however you do it,
Second thing, you look cute as a button. Oh my God, you're so damn cute. Holy cow.
Ow. I'm trying to keep it together.
Well, hey, when Ms. Bam Bam comes out, and again, if you boys and girls don't know, take a look. You've got to check her out. Go on YouTube and stuff. We're going to get into that later. But when Ms. Bam Bam comes out, she absolutely owns every single person that is sitting in a chair. I shit you not. I am so intrigued with character and the power to take us with you when you come out that curtain. Now, what I'd like to start with is Karen Bam Bam your real name? You don't have to tell us. That's okay if you don't want to, but we'd like to figure that out if we can. Karen Bam Bam, real name?
Y'all want me to fill out the birth certificate? No, it's not.
We just asked. You never know.
My name is Karen. My name is Karen.
All. Okay. We can hold it there because we don't need to know. I stalk your page. I follow your page as close as I can, so we don't want to give too much information.
Right.
Now, the character Bam Bam, I fell in love with the very first sighting of when you come through, it was at Test of Strength. It's a small, intimate place. We love Test of Strength. Now, I tell you, man, you come in, you kick ass, you take names. But when you come through the door at Test of Strength specifically, that whole charisma and vibe of Karen Bam Bam, you make sure that we see you, we hear you, we feel your vibe. I would love to hear the story of, like, was it always comfortable doing that, working with the fans because it seems very natural, or was it something that you had to acquire a taste to?
I think that was like actually one of the few things that like clicked for me immediately. Like even my first match, like I didn't even know I was wrestling that day, but like when I went out, it's a done deal. Like I'm on, I might've been tripping over myself, but I'm on. Like you can't tell me anything. Like that's just me, You gotta have confidence. And I feel like when you do something you love, you gotta spread love through that. Like, it's gonna come naturally. It's gonna be real because that's why you do it,
When you do come out, you wear nice bright colors and you have these little tutu things that are going around, and you have feathery, big, gigantic feather fan. Standing out in wrestling, not that you need bright colors, because Bam Bam, her charisma, how she speaks and all of that good stuff, and her ring prowess, might I add. I mean, it all speaks for itself. But I'm very curious on that big, huge fan that I seen. Does it represent anything? Because sometimes the accessories, they represent things for people. Does it represent anything? And what does it bring extra to Bam Bam?
Well, it just came to mind because I have friends that do burlesque, and I was actually planning on doing that, but the schedule was just never right. Even like before, like wrestling, well, I had planned to train in wrestling. I had an interest in that. So it's just like so glamorous and fabulous. And it's like, here I am. And it's like, you can create an ambiance with it. It's like you can kind of hide parts of yourself and like just, grab that attention with it. It's very feminine as well. Cause like that's something as a powerhouse is like, I don't feel like we all have to wear black or like be snarling or paint up to be aggressive. I could be cute and I can still, lay it down.
Oh, indeed, boys and girls, she can. Seen it firsthand many a time because my father loves Karen Bam Bam. And I'm not saying that nobody else does, but man, we go to the shows together all the time. And whenever he goes, we'll be driving to Test of Strength and he'll be like, so who's on the card today? Because, a beautiful thing about Test of Strength that I've never mentioned on any of these, it's at 2:00 in the afternoon and it's free. I mean, holy crap. How can you mess that up,
Get home on time, saving money, doing Sunday. Can't beat that.
But when we're hitting the 84 and he goes, who's on the card? And all I have to do is mention Bam Bam and he's like, I'm so glad we're going today.
That's how it is. It's crazy.
Now, I talked to one Brother Greatness, and I know I'm going to skip around a lot. You just hold on. We'll take a little ride. Just stay with me if you could.
Right. Let's go.
Yeah. I was talking to one Brother Greatness. I know you and Brother Greatness have a history of being in the ring of here and there, maybe a couple spots or so. But one specifically that stands out in my mind so much is at a training day, Test of Strength, East Hartford. And wow, I like if the said person, you're here, maybe you could take us, the fans, on a little journey or a little ride of a match that contains Karen Bam Bam, bigger stature girl, to Brother Greatness, who's not. I mean, he kind of gets labeled as a midget at times, and I'm not calling him that. So please take us on the ride of the story you have to tell to us, the fans, if you could.
Well, it's the story old as time. It's the biblical, David Goliath thing. But it gets complicated because as much as I love intergender wrestling, because like half of my matches are like against men most times, a lot of people don't. Or don't understand it, or maybe they feel it doesn't make sense. But we just did what we normally do. Like, as you said, or maybe didn't say, Brother Greatness is a midget. So he always getting beat up. He be getting beat up, and we love him for it. Like, that's why we scream hallelujah. But here I come. And I got the same energy, but now I'm swinging. Now I'm gonna stomp you out. So, it had a lot of twists and turns, but it was very natural. Like that wasn't thought out. We got in the ring and we did what we did. And that was like one of my favorite matches and one of my favorite people to beat up.
To beat up.
I tapped it. He beat me at the end, but I beat him up. I got flips.
We spoke of one spot and Brother Greatness. I don't know if he was really enjoying this memory lane of this one certain spot, but he was kind of draped over the second rope. Miss Bam Bam took, I believe, her right leg. I can't remember, and kind of draped it over his neck and put a little pressure. And man, he's all like, referee, help me. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that crap. It brings me on such an emotional, entertaining, hey, referee, what the hell are you doing? Help the guy. Those moments right there, those are the fun times.
It is. And it's like, I love that. I love when people interact and get into it and like care and stuff. Like, that's what I want. Like, and I'm sure that's what my opponent wants because I really am stomping you out. So please help this man.
Yeah, please. Oh my God, he is so hilarious and so good, and the whole package of a wrestler. I love Brother Greatness. But Test of Strength and Karen Bam Bam, I brought my nephew Jacob. He's 7 years old, and I made a cool little video of it, and I absolutely will watch that 1,000 times in a loop. I love it to death. But it's Karen Bam Bam coming out, and I said something or he said something, and Miss Bam Bam gave that "what you talking about, Willis" look right at nephew Jacob, and gave and gave him that look. And oh my God, it's one of my most memorable moments of Miss Bam Bam outside of the ring. Um, do you love those? Like you did mention you like the interaction, but does it give you that little extra something when you see the little ones being like, like Jacob was, and all of the things that the little ones give to Miss Bam Bam?
It does. Usually, the kids love me, but even like when they don't, it's just like, I love it. I feel like a wicked witch. Like I should just get like a pimple on my nose because I'm like, I'm under your bed. I'm still, but also you're still pretty cute. Deep down inside, it's all love.
Now you wear different colors. You have some pinkish and some yellowish, and then you have some greenish stuff going on. And I guess it would be the darker colors. Now, do you use specific colors when you're a baby face or a good girl or a heel or a bad girl? Are there specific gear that you use, or it's all right here? The difference of gear doesn't matter.
It's like yes and no. Because like, independent wrestlers is like, we're going like all these different places. So it's like some places I could wear like the white and still be a heel. Some places I'll be like, maybe I should go with like the darker green. Like I kind of just sense it out like based on the crowd, where we are, what I know about it. And I'll take my risk from there,
Mm-hmm.
But usually like people either love me or give me like a dual reaction. So it's like, I'm never gonna like be fully hated most times. Like, come on, the States.
That's one thing about when Ms. Bam Bam is a heel, and the modern wrestling fan over a course of time, as wrestling evolves and it comes in like little weird eras, if you will, right? As it's evolved, the modern wrestling fan, they don't always boo the heel. So I mean, it works for you because now you don't have to be like totally, like you said, invested into the heel gimmick, and you still get to play with the fans, and you still get to beat the good girl or good guy up,
And I feel so bad too because I really like be beating them up, and people are like, yeah, and I'm like, damn, like y'all are messed up. Like I'm beating the dog spit out of this person. Like that's awful.
Well, as I've associated myself with some of the men and women in the industry, I find that, with a bigger stature, taller, or, whatever the case may be, it's like it only takes 1, 2, maybe 3 moves interjected in your whole move set that will make us fans just go, holy shit, really? Kind of thing. So if it's like a cannonball, I've seen Miss Bam Bam. She does herself a cannonball. Those are the things that we pop and flip our shit over. How did you become to incorporate some of those moves into your moveset?
It came down to me like really wanting to be different. Like before I came out on like the independent scene, because like for a little background, I trained with Johnny Rods like starting in around 2016, and the first like 2 to 3 years I didn't do shows besides his shows. So I was training for a bit, and then around the beginning of 2019 was when I really started taking more bookings, so like end of 2018. And I took myself on the tangent. Forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I got my point back. When I was there, I was working heel mostly, so I was doing like a lot more submissions and like choke slams and basic power moves, and I still do some of them. But because I was working face, I kind of wanted to incorporate different things. I kind of wanted to, change my pacing up a bit, because I tend to move a lot faster, not a lot, but significantly faster than most people my size. So I started experimenting with like spinning heel kicks and like, low cross bodies and drop kicks. And I was like, you know what? This could be cool. Like just doing stuff where I'm like throwing my body into you and using my body as a weapon rather than just throwing the person around. Because it's like, that's the expectation. Like I still do it, but it's like, that's where the squish came from. Like it just kind of just rolled on this ball of like, so now I got the Squish and Bish Express from that, because everything I do, like I'm sitting on you in the corner, I'm squishing you, I'm cannonballing you, and I do it in the middle of the ring, so I'm squishing you like with it. So it's like, it just came natural.
I love the Squish and Bish Express. I think it's very clever and fun. It's a couple things mixed together, and it gives us. We are so easy. All we need is some visual, especially with our attention span of the social media. So when you come up with a little hashtag Squish-a-Bish, I'm like, oh my God, Dad, did you see this shit? This is hilarious. And he's like, oh, that's fantastic, Those little things, the little things that add into your character, they all add up to a big package. And I think you're doing a fantastic job right now.
Thank you.
Now, you said you just started really kind of hunkering down and getting out there a little bit more at the 2018, 2019 and getting more bookings. Now, what I'm curious about, I always find it a fascination. Have you found yourself reaching out more to promoters, or have promoters looked, kind of reached out to you? Has it been a mixture? Have you been working with that?
When I first started, I did a lot of reaching out, and it was kind of like a project where I was kind of on my own with it initially. So like I did a lot of reaching out, wasn't really successful because again, like at that point, who am I? I'm like, I have a few matches, but it's like just in this one place where I'm training and, but as I started to roll on and people kind of saw me and I met other people, I started getting introduced to, people, and people saw my stuff and liked it. And they're like, hey, I want you to do my show, or like, they hear about me from other people. So I would say like most of my stuff comes from like people coming to me.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just like, hey, like, last minute thing, we need someone. And, this person brought you up. Like I recently did Immortal because Mark Haggerty, shout out to him. He's an awesome dude, brought me up and was like, yo, you need someone. Bam Bam's great. And she's, New York based. So, and now, I have a good connection with them.
And I tell you, I know it's kind of weird to say this, but there's a lot of women wrestling, but there's not a lot of women wrestling, like wrestlers. It's kind of weird because now, Ms. Bam Bam, you found yourself doing a lot of intergender that you spoke of before. Could you tell us maybe what you're running into as a female wrestler, why that's kind of occurring?
It's, I don't know. I think it's because like with intergender wrestling, like the uncomfortability a lot of times comes from the size difference. And I don't have that issue. So it maybe to people can be a little bit more believable and like palatable because, I'm kind of short. So a lot of times when I do like intergender matches, I still look kind of small compared to it because I always end up, not always, but now recently I've been ending up with people who are like bigger because it's not the ones you've seen that test the strength for like greatness and, Nathaniel Carter, where they're the same size or smaller. Like, even with that.
Poor Nathaniel Carr. Oh my God.
Oh God. Another TLS classic. But I'm hard, and it's like I can stand eye to eye and be like, bring it, There's still, like little comments on, YouTube where like, oh, it's not believable. Like some of it is because of size, weirdly, because they're like this association with being out of shape because you're bigger. And that's the least thing from the truth. Because I probably worked out more than a lot of other people during this quarantine. And that's no shade.
I'll use somebody as an example. I've watched Ace Romero for like I don't know how many years now. And
Yeah.
he's always wanted, he's always kind of put it out there here and there. I'm bringing it down. I'm gonna, take some weight off. He's never really done a whole lot of that, and he stays very relevant. He
Yeah.
stays like he's in Benson and in the ring with so many amazing names. You can't even like start to name them all off. I mean, but man, once his career started going, it just shot off. And I feel that you're kind of in that same wavelength because you just kind of really started branching out a bit more. And when they start reaching out, that just means a lot of respect for what they're seeing on YouTube and whatever, Facebook and such. So it's got to feel a little bit better knowing that, you know what? I don't have to, I never stop reaching out, but it's cool that they reach out to me and want me on their events.
Yeah. And it was also like a really cool experience because I recently also debuted for Northeast Wrestling. And like that was different than most. Like a lot of people are very like hesitant about going to tryouts and stuff because they feel like, oh, it's just like, money grab or like, they're gonna just pick who they wanted anyway. But I actually ended up getting a debut through that tryout. And I didn't know anyone. Like, I didn't come in and like this person was already scouting me or already looking for me. It was kind of like, hey, like I've heard your name and you're familiar, and doing drills and, my match, it still spoke for itself. And that's like super like affirming to me that, I could beat the odds of what people think it is to go to a tryout, that you don't have a chance. No, you do have a chance if you go in there and just like show yourself.
Now, you spoke of this tryout for NEW, Northeast Wrestling. For you that don't know, and how you wouldn't know, I don't know, but it's like probably it's almost like I don't want to use a pinnacle because there's so many other names out there, but it's really a thing to be able to work in NEW because of the people that they have that circulate through there. And it really could elevate your career as a wrestler just by having one match at NEW. Might get you back and it might get more eyes seen on you. And they sell a lot of crap, a lot of DVDs and stuff still nowadays or what have you. So now that you've got my interest on that, because the independent scene, you have, the Beyonds, the Limitless and Chaotic. And I mean, there's a bunch of cool, really top names. And Northeast Wrestling is one of them, but it's almost like in its own little dimension, if you will,
Yeah.
How was a tryout? Because if I'm not mistaken, that was at the beginning of March and it was being hosted by Matt Taven was at the helm of that. Am I mistaken on that?
No, it was Matt Taven. He's really cool. And like, I was just like, like, thank you so much. He was like, no, like you earned it. Like, don't, thank me. And it's like, he's a really cool dude. And you still got to learn a lot. Cause I like that aspect of it too. Like I'm always trying to up my game. Like tell me, what I could do. Like tell me your ideas and stuff like that. Like I always like to change it up, like outfits, stuff I do in the ring. Like I like to keep people on their toes. So
yeah, we talk a lot about evolution of a character and your presentation and such. And like you said, even a couple moves. You don't always have to use all the cool shit that you got in your bag, man.
Yeah.
Use a couple of them, use them, later on, and you can mix it all up and make a cool little thing about it, But back to the tryout, if I may, because NEW, they don't do these very often. And I was kind of surprised to see this pop up. And it was, if we pick you, you get to work on that show that night. That must have been really cool because you did mention that you did that. Tell us who your opponent was, what you thought of the match, and how you thought that, you presented it to the fans.
Well, during the tryout, and it's a funny thing because that month I was scheduled to already wrestle Little Mean Kathleen at WSU. And during the tryout, they had everybody come up and cut a promo. So when she got up, she kind of called me out. And this was before we did the matches. And I'm sitting waiting because I like to listen to all the promos first. I'm that person. Even though I always usually get like a good response to my promo, I'm just sitting there listening. So when she did that, I was like, oh. And they were kind of letting people go up in their own order and stuff like that. So as soon as she came down, I had to kind of get up and like, let me address you. So after the promo, like Taven's like listening to everybody's promos and kind of trying to grab the characters. So that's how like the matches were set up for that aspect of the tryout. So because she kind of called me out, then we got put in that match. So then we go and we have our match, and like, you know, they were just like, I love what you're doing. So later that night, it was me and her again.
Oh.
And basically it was like a short 3-minute thing just to like establish me. And I came out, did a promo, and their crowd is amazing. Like it's just like a really big crowd, and they just eat it up. And the layout's awesome. Like, so it was just so easy to go out there and talk to them. Like,
that was at the Bethany Town Hall, like their little home base shows. Is that correct?
I believe so, if I'm not mistaken.
It's in a town hall.
I think so. I have like the worst memory. I'm like absolutely a bird brain, but I'm pretty sure.
So for those that don't know, it's basically their little home thing. They have these, I guess you could call them their house shows, if you will. It holds 250, if I'm not mistaken. And it's almost set up in like the gym of a town hall. And it's a really cool time. They have merch area and stuff on the steps on the outside or on the platform. And it's a cool vibe over there. And now you were well received from the fans that probably have never seen you before.
Yeah, they probably haven't, because like you said, like Northeast kind of is its own thing. So they probably were like, who is this? But they loved it. Like even after the show, a lot of them were like, oh my God, like you're amazing. And it's like, it always feels good. Like, you know, I'm glad when people like enjoy it and like, you know, enjoy what you do.
That's a great, gotta be a great feeling to go to the tryout with a question mark, because you never know what the hell is going to happen when you go to these things. They're very rare from Northeast Wrestling. So that was another portion of it. You go there, you do your thing. They love you seeing you shine. And then they put you on the card, man. That's a great experience. And that's just another part of that makes your character build a little bit more to take you to, you know, those levels, you know?
Yeah, and it's cool because they told me too, like they don't bring in a lot of women's wrestlers and stuff like that. They're a little more selective with it. Like one of the really lovely people that I met there and one of the women that worked with them. And it's like, that always makes me feel good when, you know, I'm adding more women's wrestling to a place that maybe doesn't have it every single time or doesn't, you know, have it a consistent roster maybe, or doesn't have like a large roster. And they're like, hey, like, you know, we don't do it much, but we added you. And it's like, that's what I want. Like, I want women's wrestling to be received on the same level as men's wrestling, because it really is. Like,
I can feel that. And I mean, I know WWE specifically has tried to change that over the course of the last few years with, you know, the big main events being, you know, a women's match or, you know, what have you. And then they did the whole Evolution pay-per-view and stuff like that. I mean, they've been trying to really make that the women shine, took the diva thing away and became a women's title, and just tried to change it and elevate the women's, which has been fantastic that we get to see so many women now that are in NXT. Is got to be just so like, okay, it's got to be exciting for you as a wrestler, especially upcomer. Is an NXT Performance Center situation, is that something that Bam Bam is really interested in, or is she comfortable on the independent scene?
When I first started, that was like the goal. Like me and my friends, we were like, yo, we're gonna get that tryout, we're gonna do it. I'm kind of free flowing with it, you know, because like even I wasn't a person that was like, oh, since I was a kid, I wanted to wrestle. Like I watched it, but you know, I wanted to be like a teacher, then I wanted to be a nurse, then I wanted to do this, and then I wanted to go move to France and do like burlesque, and then I wanted to be like a piercer, and then this and that. Like, you know, I love wrestling, and I know it's going to be in my life for a long time, but I don't know how I want to go about it, because that's a very large difference in lifestyle, you know, and it's like, I may go there and love it, or I may go there and be like, damn, like I miss my freedom, or maybe I'll stay on the independence and it could have been better for me. It's like, I don't know, you know. Man. That's something as I see people around me getting signed and getting these opportunities, and the more it's people that I know and I'm closer with, like, you know, I want to have those conversations with them and say like, hey, how is it for you? And like, you know, ask whatever specific questions, you know, that pertain to me and how I want to live my life and see if it's good for me, you know.
Because I mean, as we've seen, once you get into the NXT, you could possibly keep your gimmick and your name, or they just toss all of what you've created right out the window and call you something else and dress you a different way. So, I mean, it's almost like a double-edged sword on what you want to do. Like you said, what you want to do with wrestling, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, that could be a good thing. Like, you know, it can challenge you, and or it could be like, damn, like I don't know who I am without what I'm used to doing. And so like that's the thing about like life is an adventure. And that's kind of something that I'm trying to do, because I'm usually that person that has like a 12-step plan for everything and have everything written down, and I want to know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. But I'm trying to be more flexible and open to experiences, because this is a really innovative time and you don't know how you can make a living in a different way to someone else. You know, you could open up a whole new avenue if you just kind of experience life and let it take you somewhere.
Now, I've never really asked this question of anyone. On your shoot job or your real job, if you will, how do your how do your coworkers react when Ms. Bam Bam starts taking up this wrestling and they're like, "The hell are you doing?" Or is it like a bunch of support and hey, you got this kind of thing?
They're always like intrigued, because one thing that I hear is like, when I meet people and they're like, oh, you're like a wrestler, or like people that hang around the gym where I train. When I used to either train at Gleason's back in the day or when I train at BWF now, they were like, oh, like just talking to you, like you don't seem like the type. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, like whatever, like, you know. So people are usually really surprised and they're like excited about it. Like I showed them like some of my matches and stuff, and like, you know, if I get flyers, like I'll post them at work sometimes and stuff like that. Like they just think it's cool because it's something so different. Like I work in an office, so it's like, you know, and these are older people. Like I'm probably like the youngest person at my job, and I'm 28. You know, most of these people are old enough to be like my parents. Like, you know, so they're open to it. They, you know, and they ask a lot of questions about it. You know.
Oh, so they seem to be like not fascinated, but they seem curious enough to be like, you know, asking you wrestling questions.
Yeah, like some of them like, oh, like I used to watch, or this, that, or like I remember when I was, you know, younger and we had the tapes and this, that. So it's like, you know, it intrigues them, because I feel like most people have like some kind of experience with wrestling. I don't think there's like people who haven't watched any of it. Like I feel like more people than not, and maybe it's just because I know so many people that like it, have at some point been interested in it or watched it on TV for even like a little bit, you know, like so
what drew you in? Because you said you didn't really watch a lot of it, or maybe like how did you kind of get into it?
I watched as a kid. What I said that like I didn't want to be a wrestler as a kid, like a lot of people, or dream to do it, but I did watch it. But I watched it a lot with my brother. Like around like when I was like really young, like 6 or 7, like, and he had like, you know, all the action figures and we play with it and we'd be like jumping off the bunk beds and beating each other up and stuff. And, you know, I did take a little bit of a break off of it, like in the teenage years, but I started watching again. Me and him actually both started watching again, and that's kind of like a thing now, you know, like in my early 20s. And then like something just clicked and I was like, yo, like, I feel like I can do this. Like, I really want to do this and I really enjoy this. Like, and that was like around the time that, you know, they had the 4 horsewomen and they were like in the NXT and they were starting the, you know, women's revolution thing. And I was like, you know what, this is like cool. Like, this is fucking cool. Like, I feel like, you know, let me give it a shot. Cause I'm always like that. I'm like, let me try this and see, you know, if I feel like it would be good for me. And that was like a whole journey in and of itself. Like,
so Ms. Bam Bam is kind of reinvigorated with wrestling with her brother, which is so kick-ass. That's so cool. Now you guys are doing the wrestling thing. You say, I think I'm going to give this a shot. Where does Karen Bam Bam seek out a wrestling school to start training?
Yeah. At the time, and this was again me making my list, I had also just started working out a lot. I used to be like 325 and I started losing like a lot of weight and stuff and working out more and like looking out for my health. And I made a list when I started thinking that I wanted to do it to say like, oh, when I get to like 100 pounds off, I'm going to start wrestling school. So me wanting to be prepared and stuff, I go on the internet and I'm like looking around and seeing what's like in New York because at the time I lived in the Bronx. So I believe there was like Ludus or something. And I think like Johnny Rods and I saw Hog as well. So I started calling around and I spoke to I think Ludus or something. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll come by. It's in the Bronx. But then I called Johnny and anyone that knows Johnny, that he could talk. You know, he's a talker. So we started talking on the phone and stuff like that. And I was like on my way downtown. So I was like, oh, I'll just stop by there. I was going into the city early for like work or like a doctor's appointment. Went there, spent like an hour and a half trying to find this place when I got off the train. Like I was walking around in circles. I was fucking seething. So I just caved and like took a cab. And it was like maybe like 2 freaking blocks and I was so mad. But I got there, whatever. Sit down in his office and I gotta go to work. I'm like looking at the thing, talking for him for like maybe 2-3 hours. I was late, but I was sold. And they had a show coming up. It was just like December of 2015. So I went, I sat, watched it, and that was on the Saturday. And on the Monday, came and paid, started my training. And from there, the rest is history. And it was a struggle. It was not easy because I just started getting into shape. So it took a longer time for me than more people to get the fundamentals down. But once I got it down, I started rolling. And I honestly like proved a lot of people wrong with that. Because trust, a lot of people didn't think I was coming back after the first training session. And like I remember getting home and laying in bed and like my whole body hurt. And all he was doing was rolls. Like I was hurt. I'm not lying to you. The kid was hurt. But I came back and I just came back and it's just clicked. And I just came, like, honestly, for anyone that's trying to start, repetition. Like, training is so important. And, like, I'm so glad I chose where I chose, even though I don't train there now. Like, the fundamentals I got from there, I'm so, like, grateful for it. It makes me a stickler. A lot of newer people are scared of me. Like, I am, like, the Wicked Witch of the West. But it's with love. Like, it's not to harm. It's just, I want you to be safe. I want you to, be sound. I want you to be able to live your dreams. And the only way to do that is learn how to do stuff the right way. Fundamentals, basically. Like, it's just love. Like, don't take it personal.
That's actually a very well put message for anyone looking to get in the game, because you put yourself, your opponent, the referee, the fans, you put like everybody in a weird, awkward position if you don't really get that tutelage of getting training and taking it seriously, because it's fun as hell. I can imagine it's fun as hell, but that's after you've learned the craft a bit and got your safety and got some moves and really got, something under your belt, because you just don't jump in there and thinking you can do it. I don't see how anybody can do it and think they can do it correctly and safely. It just astonishes me.
Yeah. And luckily, like, if you train somewhere good, they kind of prepare you for that. Cause like I had to work matches with a lot of people who were not trained, or like, I've had matches with people 2 weeks into training, so it's like you learn how to protect yourself. And that's why I get on people about that. Like, not everybody wants to do this as a career. Me, I don't imagine why. Like, if you're going to put your body at risk, and it takes a lot of money to train and get started and do this to even make money. You got to spend money to make money to do this. Mm-hmm. I'm not playing with this. Like, I'm trying to make my living. Like, if you're not doing it to do that, I don't understand why personally, but I don't judge you. Like, I'm not going to be that person that's like, oh, you shouldn't do it if you don't, but that just couldn't be me. But the only way you're going to get there, if for those of you that are career inclined, is if you have discipline. You have to. Like nobody's gonna get up and tell you, do this at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Like you have to have the discipline to do that yourself. You have to treat it like it's your job. Like when I'm in here, I try to get up same time every day. I work at my computer because I work from home, work out, do what I need to do, study. Like the time to have discipline is now because a lot of us are sitting in the house all day. Jobs are gone. It's hard. And it's like not just to keep the wrestling dream going because we don't know like how long it's going to be, but also to keep your sanity. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't just sit in your own filth and, stare at the TV. Like get things going, like be productive, take care of yourself,
Well, that's kind of how the Skype stirring the pot thing came about. I'm like, how can I see the men and women that I'm missing so much? And I'm like, well, I've started doing sit down interviews. I mean, it's been okay. We've had fun, and I wouldn't change any of that. But then I'm like, how can I get the reach out there? So myself and Yusuf, we were talking, and he was my very first stirring the pot when I started this, and he was my very first Skype one. So I'm like, you know what? This shit is working, and we're having such a blast. If they keep reaching out and I keep reaching out and we're both saying yes and marking them down, I'm just going to keep rolling with it.
And it's appreciated, like, because we miss you too. Like, you were one of the first people I met, like, in the wrestling world, because TOS was one of the first places I went. So I'm thankful to that. So it's always good, to see familiar faces and, keep this thing rolling and stay a community.
Yeah, man, that's what we're doing. We're moving. I have like 24 interviews this week.
I don't know how you do it. Like, you need like a little workload or something. You ain't get dry up here. I don't feel like I've spoken this much being in the house for a long time, even though I stay on the stage.
Just between me and you, and I won't tell anybody else. I do a little bit of the cocaine on the side sometimes. No.
Look, you sure? I know a guy.
No. No, you know what it is, Miss Bam Bam? It's wrestling. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's like I feel what I feel at the shows, and when we talk like friends like this, I just think it's so cool that you men and women have been opening up and talking to us, the fans, because we wouldn't know this stuff by just hanging out at the merch booth and saying hi to Bam Bam. We're having a good time. We're saying a couple things. But I mean, we would never be able to talk like this, So that's a big portion of why I'm doing this, and I think it's been really fun,
Yeah, it's been. It's good. I'm low key shy, so I'm always like, I gotta talk and stuff. Like, what if it's just dead air? But it's like, nah, it's like on Kincaid, whatever.
Well, that was the thing. I reached out to Laura C, and I'm like, I want Miss Bam Bam on here, but I'm not sure if she does interviews or anything. And I go, I know she's not, been on the scene too long. So I don't know. And she goes, what the F are you waiting for, Kincaid? So I reached out. Yeah. So what we also like to do is, no, you started training. Karen Bam Bam, the name, the character. Can I assume that it's an extension of Karen without the Bam Bam, just amped up, like they say in wrestling? Take something and amp it up a lot. Is it pretty much just an extension of yourself with the whole cool vibe you got going on?
Yeah. The name was from Johnny. Like, he had a whole idea, and like he kind of wanted me to be the more traditional powerhouse. So I went with that for a while. Like when I first started, I was like all black or like green lipstick, black eyeliner. But then I transferred to the yellow, and I just kind of started bringing out, more of my personality, and I got comfortable wrestling more. And I just went out there and I was just me. Like, I just kind of find like things that work. Like, I didn't think hard about like the Squish and Bish Express or Chocolate Thunder. Like those are things that just kind of came to mind, and I just roll with stuff. So like more and more, again, that evolution just happened. I challenged myself to do different things, and I started sewing my own gear. And so I kind of made like these colorful things and, put my little feather belts together. And like, it just keeps bringing out more and more like, my charisma and personality. Because like I'm like this with my friends most of the time. I can get quiet because, again, I am like low key shy, but I have like my meditative moments. But like when I'm in a good mood, I'm very like silly and loving and sassy, and I'll cut ass a little bit on my friends, be like roast each other all too. So all of that.
There's one specific thing that you do, and I'm not that the crowd is already hot when you come out that curtain. You make your way to the ring, you get through the ropes, you get in the ring, and you give this one little twerk spot, and we lose our shit every single time. Oh my God. Um, I would like to maybe take us a little story on the first time you tried it and how it worked out.
I don't remember the first time I tried. Let me try to like reflect on that, because I think I came out just twirling, like I'll spin around and just be like, very sassy and like flip my hair and stuff. But I think maybe I just went out, because I always used to twerk so much, like we would get in trouble, like I can't for the talent shows, because we would like act like we were doing like regular dancing because they didn't like it, and then we would just like turn the song and then just start like twerking and stuff, and they were just like, oh my God, like stop, like it's inappropriate, but like we always used to do that. We always used to go on the trains too and act a fool. Like those friends that are listening know, like do the streets, like act it up, like just straight disrespectful. That was pre-wrestler days, early 20s, 19-year-old. I think like when I kind of started meeting up with those friends more and we went out, I was like, oh, like again, it was that evolution, like opening up more. And I was like, yo, like I love dancing. Like, let me just go do that. Probably started when I started doing indie stuff more. So I don't know if I started doing it at POS. I don't think so. I don't remember where. But I think it was probably like middle of last year to end-ish of last year. It just came out and it was like, I'm gonna do this. Actually, I think I remember now. I think it was my BWF match with Vicious Vicky that I was really doing it.
Okay.
So I think that was over the summer last year.
And the BWF crowd is absolutely lunatic. Those guys are crazy. Holy crap.
That's the Bronx. That's that Bronx love. Like I'm from the Bronx, and like people just our borough all the time, but like nah, like we have good energy. Like New York crowds are really good, but that Bronx crowd, they get crazy too. But like,
now that's only the second time that I've been to Dario's Fitness in the Bronx, and it's such a crazy time over there, man. The ambiance way down in the back corner, and it's kind of all tapered off. You walk through it, and all of a sudden, it's this whole world going on of wrestling, and you're like, what the hell did I just walk into? It's really cool because the music's loud, the lights are going on. Mr. Shane Fair is on the microphone. It was just such a great time, man. And you and your tag team partner, can you please tell me your tag team partner's name and the tag team name that you came out with that specific night at BWF?
Yes, I was in the tag tournament with my partner Nimrod. Hi, boo. And we would party all the time. And we came out with Lima Ritas, and I came out with my feather fan, and we danced to the ring. And oh my God, it was like amazing. Like they loved us, even though we didn't win. Like they still like, even to the end, they was with us. It's like just amazing.
You don't have to win to keep us on board. You just saw that. You said it and saw it firsthand. But when you guys come out, and man, I know we pop for Karen Bam Bam when she comes out through the curtain, but dude, and I don't mean to call you a dude, but dude, you guys came out and the crowd, it was like Wrestle effing Mania. I could not believe the pop that you guys got. That energy down there is just amazing. That's got to be a little bit more special. Can I say that your home base right now is BWF?
I would say yes. BWF is, I would say our Intense Wrestling Alliances too, and Victory Pro Wrestling since I'm their women's champion. So I would say those three. Okay.
The energy was amazing. Me and Laura were sitting next to each other, and when the crowd went off, we just looked at each other. And we didn't really cheer for you right off. We hugged each other that everybody was cheering for you. It was like, holy shit, look at the love that that she gets here. And it was like we hugged each other and then we cheered for you. I apologize. But the
I felt it.
adulation. Yeah, man, that was such a cool moment, and it was just really cool for me to be there. Um, we also got to see Dominic De Niro win the championship. That was effing amazing. Oh my God.
Yes, that's the homie. Like I was up all freaking night and all day making that freaking those knee pads for him to have it. Because I was like, nah, you gotta be fly. You gotta be fly for your match. And like when he won, we were definitely happy. It was like, a good night.
So you helped get his gear attire ready for the big title championship match?
Yeah, just the knee pad covers. We working on other stuff, but like that's the homie and he's helped me out a lot. Him and Greatness, like those are like my favorite people. So like, yeah, I was like, let me get this done. I was like, it's a big moment. Like you've been here so long and you're getting your shot. Like you're not going out there without, something fresh. We're gonna get it done.
That's awesome to hear, man. I love those little things. See, boys and girls, again, we wouldn't hear these things. I'm glad that we have Miss Bam Bam on to share these kind of things because I love wrestling. We all love wrestling, man. I mean, without it, what the hell would we have? We'd have to go find something else to do, but I'd rather go to wrestling. So
Well, I miss it. I can't wait for it to come back.
you did say, Brother Greatness is one of your homies and stuff, but you don't really act like it when you're in the ring. You absolutely murder my poor man, Brother Greatness. But that brings me to your showmanship. That goes with Brother Greatness's showmanship. That's in that ring. You guys tell an amazing story because it doesn't always have to be moves. It's the facial expressions. It's when, Brother Greatness is yelling for the ref, for his life. And, you say something ridiculous to Brother Greatness and, maybe give him a little squash, or something. Oh my goodness. You guys are just fantastic together. I hope we see more of that. That would be fantastic.
Oh, me and him gonna square up. He just threatened me today. Like, he act like we don't have a show coming up together. Like, I will beat him up. Like, you're safe now. Don't come in my messages threatening me. Like, how dare you? We definitely gonna see that rematch. we gonna see it.
I say you should have the higher brass in BWF. Make that cruiserweight championship an open weight championship just for one night only, and you could become the champion. Just saying.
I told him when I get to 205, I'm getting that cruiserweight match. After I beat Vicky up, because I was supposed to have my championship match with her before this. I was supposed to have it like at Intense Wrestling Alliance. Supposed to work Outlaw. Woo, like so much stuff.
So you said you're champion. Could you please tell us the name of the company again, what the title is called, who you beat to take it, and how long have you been champion?
Well, let me stand up. Hopefully I don't knock this whole setup over because knowing me.
Oh, wow.
What do
you got presents for us?
I gotta keep them things. I hold that thing.
Yes. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. That's awesome.
That. It's huge. Like this was made for me. It actually fits around my hips and it's a big belt. Women's belts be so small, it'd be like half the size of this. Like this is covering my whole stomach. It's litty.
That is a beautiful championship. Yeah.
The Victory Pro Wrestling in Long Island, New York. And that was actually the first place I started wrestling. And I beat Ariella Nix. Hi. Let me stop. Woo! I ain't shit. Hi, Ariella. How you doing, girl?
I didn't see that coming. I was expecting a name that I'm not familiar with, and I've had Miss Ariella Nix on just recently, so that threw me for a loop.
Woo! Hey, girl.
So, how long has Bam Bam been champion?
Damn. And I'm the worst. It's been about 2 months. I should be counting the days, or I should have had that already. About 2 months. I should say like maybe like 68 or so.
Hey, it's got to feel good to hold the championship. Is that your first championship?
It's not. I had back at Johnny's World of Unpredictable Wrestling. I was the women's champ there, and I was the Intense Wrestling Alliance women's champion. And get my rematch against Vicky. Vicky.
Now, as a champion, as a champion, do you do those, cute little things like, maybe sleeping next to it or taking it on a ride, or something like that? Do you do any of that, quirky little stuff with the belt?
I don't have a car, so I don't take it on no rides, but I just like to keep it near me, just keep it in that one place and just walk by it and be like, I'm the baddest, ain't I? And then just, go about my day. I'll probably start doing some stuff with it, some yoga with it on.
Yeah, because it's really fun when champions do things, just, everyday things that you wouldn't expect them to have the belt with, like pumping gas and it's just sitting there on your shoulder or around your waist, or, just quirky little shit. I just think I get a tickle out of it. I think it's funny as hell.
I'll do one for you tomorrow.
Oh my God. Yeah. Now, when you sit down and watch wrestling, what do you watch? Do you watch WWE, AEW, a mix of some other stuff, or do you go to the indie stuff to check out matches? What do you watch?
I watch everything. My brother has a network, so I use that. Thank you. I have YouTube TV, so I watch AEW, pop it on that. Sometimes I go to like a random date back in the day and like watch like a Saturday night special, or like, like a pay-per-view, a Raw, SmackDown, like all of that type of stuff. And, I'll go on YouTube and like I get recommendations because I watch a lot of wrestling on YouTube. So they'll like link me to matches. Like, I like to watch everything, and especially like companies I'm like interested in. I want to watch what they have. I want to see who they have. If I've heard of a promotion, I watch it too. Because as a worker too, it's like I kind of want to get an idea of like who's in my bracket, like who's coming up underneath me, or who's right above me, or like, and see where they're at. And like, if I haven't heard of that place, let me look into them. Like, I kind of want to know like what's going on, around me too. So I watch all levels.
Well, we're friends. I'm here to help. Now, you did mention Ariella Nix, but I've also had on Ms. Big Juicy, very brand new upcomer. She's out of the Massachusetts area. Shut Up and Wrestle and WMW PvP in the Massachusetts area. But I've also had on one of my all-time favorites, and I've loved her since day one. One courageous Christina Marie versus Karen Bam Bam, to me, would be a dream match. I'm not shitting you just because I'm talking to you.
That would be interesting. Like, I'm down for it. Like, me and her haven't crossed paths a lot. Like, this is one of those people that I've seen like once or twice and been at like the same show with, but like, I'm down for that. Like, she's dope. Like, I'll give props. Like, there's not a lot of women workers out there, so the good ones, I'll be like, go ahead, do your thing, baby. So one of these days, probably.
Hey, when this the whole thing blows over, come on, bookers, promoters, referees that know bookers, guys and girls that know promoters, get that match on any card, and I hope that I'm in a 5-hour radius to check that out, because I want to see that shit live.
Yeah, that would be dope. Like, that's an interesting like dream match, because people are always like Hugh and Faye Jackson, and I'm like, oh, like I can see that, but like that would be definitely like cool in a different way. Like,
that would be a good one.
I'll put that energy in the air.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, mark that on your yeah. We got you. Miss Bam Bam, you were an absolute delight with sharing things. You opened up, we talked character, we talked a little bit of the origin, we talked how you trained, we even talked about your coworkers. I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Well, thank you. Is there anything that I haven't touched upon besides, because there's one thing I do want to touch upon. Now to get a hold of Karen Bam Bam, well, not really get a hold of. If you want to stalk her, if you want to follow her like I do, uh, uh, could you give us how we can find you on Face page, Twitter, and all of those cool medias?
Tickgram, Snapbook. On Facebook, you can search Karen Bam Bam. I have a page there. IG and Twitter is at Bam Bam the Belly. And I also have a YouTube page with lots of matches. Again, if you search Karen Bam Bam, it should come up. That's the name of the channel. So I'm everywhere. And I'm going to get started on TikTok too. So you're going to see those on IG because I'm definitely trying to keep this fresh content. We ain't going to be out here posting old selfies this whole quarantine, like trying to keep it popping. So
that is something that I do find. Not all wrestlers are social media savvy or are on it, have some stuff, but they're not very active. Ms. Bam Bam, if you go follow her, she's throwing up all sorts of cute little shit. Oh man, I love Miss Bam Bam's social media. I'm all over it.
Yeah, I'm versatile. Put my little tarot cards, yoga pictures, put my Dojo Wood stuff up on there. I know we ain't going to talk about CZW, but shout out to them and DJ Hyde, especially,
Yeah, is there anything that I've missed or that you would like to say to the fans? Like, because you've worked for quite a few companies, maybe I've missed something that you would like to do some shout outs or something, because I'm not all there. So if I've missed something, maybe you can throw something out. Are we good or?
Yeah, I just want to throw in, because I've worked with, CZW and Dojo Wars and WSU for the greater part of the year, going up there every week. And it's definitely been like a great experience for me. So like, yeah. Oh, you there? Oh, I was like, oh my God. I was
like, I got a phone call. I got a phone call. Who the hell would call me on a phone? It was a.
They know you doing the Kincaid files. Want me to fight them?
Take care of my business because I'm not a fighter.
Yeah, I'll come through. You stirring the pot. Like, we ain't got time for phone calls.
Yeah, CZW. I've seen that you and some of the more from some of the names that I know. You guys go down there and do the TV tapings. I would love to actually end on that. Being on a known TV taping, does that really kind of do something to the mindset when you come out, or does that hinder your performance at all? You're like, damn, I got to make sure this and that, or is it just business as usual when the camera's rolling?
No matter what show I go to, I'm always like nervous when I'm thinking, and then when I go out, it's just silent. It's like, look, I'm going out there and I'm about to do what I'm going to do. So it was definitely, what was interesting about it is just definitely trying to do this new thing because they had the Saturday night special, and that's what I ended up calling one of the WWE programs because it was on the back of my head. But we started doing the Saturday night special, and we only had one episode because everything's going on here and it's very complicated to do it. But the intent was to provide an experience without an audience that you could watch at home. And it was weird not having anyone there. Like, I did it at WSU too because the 13th anniversary show, we had to do it without a crowd as well at the dojo. But that's really what was like more scary about it. It's like there's like no one here. It's just like cameras and production and people in the back with the plates. You're like, okay,
a weird, it's a weird ambiance because of there's none of that going on, man. It's got to be very odd as a wrestler trying to pull off what you're trying to present,
Yeah, the thing in the theater though is like it had like so much like, I forgot what it is, echo or like what is it? Like it was still like kind of loud because I had my super supports in the back screaming for me. So them three people sounded like 200 for a second. So that was pretty funny and cool. But like, I was definitely grateful for the experience. And, I just look forward to see where things are going. Like,
Yeah.
They've invested in me and I've invested a lot of time in them back. So it's like, I'm definitely, excited for where things pick up for, WSU, CZW, was.
I cannot wait to see what the future brings for Bam Bam, because your character is taken. I think your character has actually kicked its own ass a little bit. I don't know what it is, but it's doing something right. You're doing something right. And we love Karen Bam Bam, no matter if she's a little darker, if she's a little lighter. It does not matter. We love her no matter what. We cheer you. We never boo Karen Bam Bam. I could never. Well, I think I did it once and I regretted it. I'll never do that again. Never again,
Yeah.
ever. I do. I remember. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Karen Bam Bam, you've been an absolute pleasure tonight. I cannot thank you so much for spending the time with us, the fans, and just opening up some. It was awesome.
Of course, absolutely. And again, it was great to talk to you. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Oh, thank you.
Watch a stir hot dog. That should be your.
Oh.
No, just me.
Oh man, boys and girls, get on the Twitter, get on the face page, get on whatever you got to do. The tactic, yeah, do it. Check her out. Get on the Squish a Bish Express. Well, don't do that. You might get hurt. Oh, man. What a doll she's been with us. This was Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Karen Bam Bam. Thank you so much, honey.
Thank you. I'll see you around, homie.
Yeah.
Good night, y'all.
Ready?